the FNCS Grand Finals. The battle bus has launched. We're coming down just south of Snobby Shores, heading over just south of Gus. This is a pretty low cut bus here, so that means trying to get to the north side is going to be a little more difficult. You're going to have a little bit longer of a flight time, but you know, we'll have to see how things go. Now, if you're one of these teams that are maybe a little lower in the standings, do you think you swap things up? You think you try to challenge? You think you just keep the pace? What do you think, man?
So I think if you're being contested off of spawn and you lost 3 games in a row, you should have a backup drop spot. If you don't and you've practiced it, I can understand sticking with it because it's what you know. But if you have a backup drop spot, this is the time you have to go. You're in the back half of the games. Right now, 2 games, realistically, like a solid 2 games will put you into that first pay bump. And if you can get there, awesome. But if you can't, then you really need to go right now, and that's part of the decision making. And it's hard as an IGL saying, yes, we're going to our secondary drop, because that's really just saying that, like, you're admitting that you lost. And It's hard to take that. It's hard to say, you know what, you're wrong. It's hard to say, you're right, Zexro shouldn't have popped the bandage, he should have just ran forward and continued to run. Like, it's hard to say that in the circumstance, right? But to make the tough calls and then go through and pivot away, which might end up happening to these guys, unless Tomas can go huge. They lost the last one. It was 2-1 up on them, and much like the rock, paper, scissors tournament, they want to close this one out. White Pistol going at it right there, getting great shreds, the high rate of fire. What? Loadsman deserved to dance on in there. You can take that one back, hitting all of the gray air shots right there in the jump. Tomas got confident, thought he could have gone, and Lodsman turned it around, just ripping him apart. That was a headshot, body shot to push just over 120. It says, catch that L. That's 2-2, man. See you next game.
I mean, he had the pump, right? So he was very confident in what he was going to do. But Lodsman said, you know what? It doesn't matter. You gave me an arc. I have practiced tracking before. I'm just going to laser your face.
Well, and again, like, sometimes, yeah, that might be an 80-20 fight for Thomas. But you know what? In that circumstance, the headshot being the difference and you're down in your practice, you don't always win those fights going through. Lodsman, he clutched up, and that's what Fortnite is all about at times. Sometimes you do need to go clutch. Nobody ever just straight up won a tournament by not having clutch moments, right? I mean, I'm sure somebody out there did, right? It was very consistent all the way through, but there's always that one moment you can point to where it's like, that was it. That was where it really turned around, or that was the key moment where they really recognized they could do something else. As we hop on board here with Frappe, Tybin, and Macon over at Pressure Plant, and a ton of damage already chipped off of them, but 1 elim going over, and they're all still standing.
I'd be curious because up there north side, you got 1 of the Vayne Triggies, and you got 1 Energy Edgy, not the real Edgy.
Yeah, so it's Harmful and then Vayner Triggy. I'm assuming it's the first name, so we'll say Harmful and Vayne, as now he's trying to find it, but they're going to use this rotation pattern. However, the second you're up in the air,
well, I think one of them's already been dropped, right?
Yep.
Because that's why it's just the 2 triangles. So I don't know what happened, but right out the gate, 1 has been eliminated. It looks like there might be another one.
Trying to find the shots on the gliding opponent as he got the force deploy, but now they're going to push up. However, Vayne is holding the high side, and now Harmful is doubling back. Does have a good ability to track his opponents. However, he can't make that quick little hop, so Frappe loses the advantage on knocking him down 95, and he trades it back with a shield tag him the other way. Does get pushed in the box. He's getting pinched right now. This is what you have to do in your man-down situation, but Frappe owns that box, gets the edit, now getting shot in the back. Vayne goes down. Zapper on the inside as well, and then Harmful gets picked up. They go down for the 4th time in an early trade fight. You just can't get going out of the early game, and we've seen them be successful before, but I mean, sometimes they just don't go your way, and once you kind of get in that mentality, it's tough to get out of A. Even MMB tilted.
That's right. It might be time to go back to a fallback plan, try and rack up points. We've got 2 more games to do it. Now is the time, but we go to retail. Here's what we're going to do, all right? We know this is Edgy, Sentin, and Rex. We're just going to start calling them ECR.
No, all right, Edgy, Sentin, and Rex is fine. I'm just going to, so I say Booga's Sentin, Mongo's Edgy, Tfuse Rex.
ECR, got it.
If I'm wrong,
right now,
ECR,
they find themselves a gold rocket out the gate. You'll love to see it.
It's tilted, retail loop, but you can see they are actually split this time, so not uncontested. Do have a team hanging out over on the west. So what generally ends up happening here is the teams will get comfortable enough loot, comfortable enough shields, and then see if there's a contestation going down. Generally, it's the team on the west side heading back in because they do have a slight high ground advantage and better cover on that initial little dip. where they are right there. But because ECR have already pushed up above towards the gas station, it's going to make collapsing over a little more difficult. They're going to want to move around the north side. However, currently, Rux, Joel, and Pika are out in the open, and we talked about them being capable of making plays. It looks like they're trying to challenge out here and get a piece of this retail loot that everyone's been talking about.
I mean, right now, ECR has the gold rocket, so that, and a heavy sniper, actually. So they have these power weapons in play. And the 1400 boys, I mean, they don't really have that many builds happening right now, right? Like, there's only so much natural cover coming out from blacktops that, like, you really have to build a lot of your cover. Whereas they have trees, they have structures, they have houses, rooftops. There's so much more that they can use to, like, break line of sights or create small lines of sights to fire back at.
Straight up, I don't think either one of these teams wants to fight at all.
Yeah.
Like, you're kind of posturing, but you can tell that, like, hey, we're good, they're not moving over. Okay, like, how far are we going to let them come up before we fire shots? And there's that kind of line in the sand. You can even see it on the minimap. That gas station is that little, like, black reversed L right there. Kind of, but that's the real line in the sand. As soon as you cross over onto that, you're on the opponent's other side. You're trying to really, like, put the pressure onto them. Generally, and this is just the course of play, if there's only two teams here, you will see this split all the time. Shio actually went over it in the drop spot video. You can find that on the FN Competitive Twitter or on the YouTube. But the split really isn't uncommon because both teams can come out with such valuable loot and get it in time to then exit, and you just straight up don't end up interacting. However, teams will always look to come by retail and see what is left because they're assuming people have grabbed what they wanted and then got out. As you can see now, they're able to do putting down the bubble shield just to ensure, since there is a team rotating through the south.
And that's the thing, man, is now this team at the south, they're probably watching this, right? They've got eyes on this. They see the massive shield bubble. It's a very clear indication. Oh, look, there's someone here. We know that for a fact.
You hear the shots, too.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
AR shots you can hear from forever away.
Yeah, so just watch the minimap. Like, watch the way the triangles are looking. They're looking literally at retail. They're like, yep, we see them. We're tracking them. Do we want to do this? Like, if we get ahead of them, we can just gatekeep them. Like, yeah, they'll probably have launch pads because that is, like, one of the few or one of the many things you'll get from here. But at the same time, you can just sit on the edge. Let them come in. The 1400 boys, they've not, like you said, it's just posturing. Everyone's looking at each other like, hey, don't come over here. I'm farming, you're farming. All right, I'll see you in like 10 minutes.
Well, and it literally kind of looks like the teams are trying to avoid each other, but that's the natural course of the rotation. You don't rotate back up and around the north side because then you potentially run the risk of running into the split two teams. And they heard the shots. They knew there was two there, but no fighting was going down. You saw nothing pop up in the Elim feed, so you can put two and two together. These players are pretty smart now as Andrew does get the conversion over onto Cool Penguin, a.k.a. Icy. Apologies, name threw me off. I know you and Naga, you guys have been around forever. Voxy also throwing shots down on the Twinkies and Nitrix as they're trying to rotate away. They want nothing to do with this, actually doubling back into the storm to get the resources from the Elim they just got.
I mean, that tells me that they are very low on materials and ammunition and weapons. It's just, they need the loot. Right, so if you're Naga and Voxy, you watch them kind of going over your trio's body. You're like, okay,
I mean,
they're lacking.
It's a 1 to 2 tick storm, so it's like you're not going to give up a ton either way, but you can definitely tell they want this pick. So right now he's holding the angle. His teammate will be looking for the edit. He's going to say edit now. Yep. So you notice he doesn't need to leave the scope, and then they can line up a headshot. Because it's pre-edited there, you can peek through the tiles. If the player gets caught gargoyling at the top, he will be gone. Now looking in the bottom right-hand corner, Ghost, Aiden with Sean and Sam. Aiden picking up one right there. That was Truth, just catching the end of the pump. Tons of light ammunition right now coming out from him. Stinks taking him over to just above 110 effective HP. They're going to circle back up, circle the wagon, say, okay, where are we at?
Right here, the next safe zone is so close. A nice moment of breather. And this is huge, right? Because the Ghost Duo and Sam, I mean, Sam came in second at the World Cup. He's very good. And Aiden, we know, is good. Sean as well. So I'm very excited to see what this trio can do in late game. Rizzo, though, is going to jump out. Now, Sean will go down, but it's okay, right? Sam was there. He had the cover. Everything's okay. They just need to take time to get the revive off. Both of these were knocks, though. So there is one more player running around. That's what Aiden is trying to track down. Where is this remaining person? Is he above us? Is he below us? Did he come entirely bail? And look at this. He just drops out. He's like, that guy wants height. It's cool. I'll just rejoin. And then as a trio, we'll go down and hunt this guy down. I believe he has a rocket and a minigun.
Oh, no, Stinks immediate pressure onto Sean, who is just revived. He's going to get re-knocked, which is going to throw a wrench in the plans. Luckily, they are on the short side of the storm, so they have forever to wait, and then that fight will put them over the top as they get the trio wipe. 399 damage, 10 players have to go down. But you talked about this trio being exciting to you. I might catch a little flack for this. I'm not a huge fan of this trio in particular. Aiden and Sean struggle with consistency. They have a great ceiling, and when they play well together, it is very good. Sam, on the other hand, thrives in a very consistent environment. He has a game plan, he sticks with it, and then he executes on it. So despite it being all players who are of a very high caliber, I think one of the most important things in trios isn't necessarily always individual player skill, but more so team cohesion and how long you've been together. They also haven't played all of the weeks together, right? So I sit here and everyone should be like, wow, it's super weird that Sam, Sean, and Aiden didn't do that well. But I think there should be slight measured expectations about this trio. One, because of the inherent play styles, and two, just the amount of time they've played together. Not saying they aren't capable of doing absolutely huge things, but I also don't want, and this goes for all the players, you shouldn't judge people off of the singularity of how they're doing in one event. That's utterly ridiculous. Like, I saw some people saying that, like, oh, MMB have fallen off just because they didn't do that well. I'm like, no, they tilted after 2 games because a mech spawned above them and they didn't handle the fight correctly. They didn't have a contingency plan for that because they've had retail uncontested for forever.
Yeah, the last 5 weeks.
And then the other team came in with a cohesive game plan. If you go back and watch the server replays, they were looking to catch them on rotations. The reason they didn't go in the first 2 games was because MMB did drop together. It did their discipline drop because they were like, oh, maybe somebody will be here. But instead, they didn't. But just tilting 2 games and not having a great back half and then being just outside the top 10, I mean, they still made like over 150K from like straight up just the FNCS by itself, had an average placement of 1.4. They're still one of the best in the world. It's just that sometimes somebody else will have a better day of Fortnite, and it happens to be a world champion and 2 of the best world online qualifier players. So it's like,
I mean, if you had to not, oh my, okay.
The wall got thrown in his face going off for that. It's one of the worst feelings in the world. I mean, we've talked about it before, just the defensibility in using rockets and explodes in close range, and then the bubble shield adds another factor on top of it, trying to get that spacing right, having to step forward just that much more. But then unfortunately, that being the difference, being in the explode radius, as you see a number of players going down there. Maddie's son cleaned up, Chio cleaned up by Epic Whale and the CLG crew as we move towards Gotham City.
Just disastrous there. Not what you want to have happen when you're walking into somewhere like Gotham. You know, there's teams there, and you guys are so good you could walk around and destroy them. It is unfortunate, but it is the way of the road. So now ECR is going to just try and do whatever he can, right? Like,
so this is Rex. So Rex is full
right,
solo.
So we know this is Rex.
Yes, we know this is Rex. He's looking to try. I don't know if, like, he's right around the timeout time for the cards. He's trying to loop back over there. Now he's starting to ramp push because I think he realizes he's there. But if the other team is even remotely near, like, they know who they knock and got conversion on, you're not going to let him go get that reboot. Like, you're hawking that thing.
Yeah, I think he just
that was the decision. I think his teammate probably called, hey, it's timed out, or nope, it's there, play yourself, which is a very common call. Like, you hear it called all the time. It's like, hey, play like I'm eliminated, play your life, stay in the match, like, don't worry about me, even though, like, you feel an obligation, right? Like, you want to help your buddy, but at times that's not always the smartest play, particularly right now. 70 players up just inside the Storm Surge threshold as we move to Circle 4, so a relatively dense position, and our top trio is down to just a single member with no excess shields and just above 100 effective HP.
I mean, this is Rex, though, that we're talking about, right? If he just plays it slow and plays to line up and get these lines of sight on enemies, he can rip them out of the sky, right? He just has to play this very slow, methodically. Look at this, though. Cool Comrade 12 flying around. Not the coolest, because you're definitely eating some storm shots. And now Rex, he sees, and here's, there's someone up on the hill. He tries to go for the quick scope, but he's like, you know what? I'm getting beamed. I cannot go for this right now. He's got to be real careful. I mean, he's by himself, so he can, like, stealthily move around a little bit, but at the same time, man, you're fighting 1v3s. This is your life now.
If one team looks over and sees you, you're out of the game, right? If they see you're solo and they call, hey, this guy might be solo. Hey, this guy's rotating alone on foot. Like, you don't see anybody else with him. Like, maybe Cool Comrade, who is also a solo, you could think they're a little bit split away from him there. But, I mean, you just pour rifle bullets into him, he's going to go down. At this point, this is such a scary position, but he's right on the edge of zone and also happened to draw a short rotation. However, there's basically 3 trios that have a great line of sight, and then also another solo who's mimicking his movement pattern right now, who's also under fire, who might inadvertently draw attention onto Rex here. This could be catastrophic for him.
Yeah, Rex hears it, right? He knows there's someone getting close. He can hear the shots coming out and hitting the player. The thing is, though, like, he doesn't want to peek left because there's no way.
But this could be a great pick for him. He should know that player's still there. He knew that player launched around. Like, this is the only opportunity he has to get a legitimate chance right back into the game, because everyone else in this circumstance right now has a buddy with them. Even if he gets a heavy snipe headshot or multiple infantry rifles without a spray weapon, there is no way he converts on an elim except if it's the solo directly to his left. We're going to swing on over to Leno, Symmetrical, and Epic Whale, who are our actual leaders. I apologize that you can see them now sitting on 45 points as they've taken over from the 2 elims now.
And they're sitting pretty, man. They are just chilling right now. Splashes, ammo for days, almost max on build, and a single shield bubble that is going to give them the protection they need. They're even so comfortable they're just throwing traps around. It's like someone wants to jump in our builds, or they want to try and crack the ceiling. It's going to be rough. And let's not forget, they are in center zone right now. The best possible position you want to be in, because this makes rotating that much easier. They pick out a team across the way. Can we get some shots over there? We'll try a few. You know what? Not worth our time. I like this. Very controlled.
19 players need to go down for the Storm Surge. 19. There's currently 69 players in the lobby, and it needs to go down to 50 before this closes. And also, the next circle will be that half in and half out, so they're looking for more of a consistent bid here with it. Not necessarily guaranteed to be pulling the zone, but they are guaranteed to have a short rotation, and with a ton of rifle ammunition, they're looking for picks right now on other people. And as I say that, able to get Lolly Liquor on the backside and convert over some great accuracy and fire, pushing them up to 46 points.
And this is exactly what they want to do, right? They want to just try and make these picks as players are kind of leaving themselves exposed for just a moment, and then the moment that late game happens, they're ready to go, right? Foot on the gas, they want to go full send, and they want to claim high ground if possible. What I want to know is, does one of these 3 have that coveted minigun, right? Do they have the shockwaves in play? They do have a single shield bubble, and that's great. That's going to protect them, but they need something to try and contest high ground.
Rex went down. Rex is out of the game. Psalm, Aiden also just went down. So now we see an opportunity for the CLG duo and Epic Whale of Energy to push up. However, over on the side there, you can see the 100 Thieves duo and Liquid Rivers on trying to put some pressure on to RBK, JDW, and his trio. But players are starting to drop. We still have 7 more to go before we hit that Storm Surge threshold. And Bumboy is able to punish Cease, getting it down there. Frat by picking up Birdie 6 more players before Storm Surge wears off. And that will be about 50% of the lobby. Fortnite about playing for endgame, making it there. Right now you can see Voxy, Naga Ops being flanked by Booby and Held Back Dog, not being held back, trying to take the wall on the backside, not able to get edited out instead. Booby trying to cover himself up there, doing everything he can, doing the polite thing. It's a family-friendly activity. Please cover yourself up and make sure you don't take any shots going on. Rotates back over the middle of the zone as he continues to move forward. Needs to be careful, though, because he is rocking with basically enough health for a single AR bullet to hit it. You can see now Pika and Joel trying to get some shots over there as Boo continues his rotation, able to have the slurp juice ticking and caught in the back. Honestly, I would put the shield bubble down. Buy yourself some room, force somebody to close in. There's a supply drop directly above you. That is your one chance to allow your teammates time to get over it. Because if you see his teammates right now, they are fully kitted out. There's not a whole lot this player is going to be able to do, but instead pushes in double traps, has done enough of those elimination races to avoid the traps, ducks back out and gets a huge siphon that was desperately needed, and also gives him more time for that slurp to take over just above 100 effective HP, as now we flip on over to Riverson, 35 points, and Cease was able to get revived there. And also check that bottom right-hand corner. They are stacked in towards Prio on the next zone. However, They are on the low ground. What he's going to look to do is put a stake right on the edge, knowing those players are going to be forced to rotate in. A great call from Riverside, but we already talked about explodes in a close radius. That gave me anxiety. Sorry.
It's okay. He was just outside of the burst radius. They're going to catch the players off guard, and that is a full team wipe. Loot, materials, the likes, and a little bit of those campfire ticks to get them back into working order. Fantastic that they were able to get Cease back up because he's such a power player, and now they can continue trying to work toward that late game. 6 more trios have to go down before we hit first round of placements, and the storm is moving. We are moving right now. They are closer to that safe zone, so they'll get there first. They'll have a little bit of time to lock themselves up and prepare to gatekeep people. But look at everyone. Look at this mid-ground tarp, so dense. Even down below, Tavern, Bumboy up on top. The 1400 boys, Joel, Pika, Rux, they are moving around there as well. Cease on the very outside of this zone. They're trying to get there first. They want to make sure they can establish themselves and try and get these close quarter fights if possible. Another 5 trios, now 4. Look at this. This is so packed right now.
It's such a dense lobby, and right now the 100 Thieves duo plus Riversun are able to put a ton of shots down it. They've been in this situation before. They're trying to throw rockets up towards the high ground, and they get a number of knocks out of it, and now Riversun's pushing up towards that. That's 4 elims for him, 5 now, as Cease does end up converting on his knocks, just coming through over and over again. Tons of shockwaves, tons of possibilities. The question is, can they go up for height? They're trying to find it directly in the player's box. 100 for Riversun. He's like, nope, disengage by. I'm going to go find friends, pop some shields. That's the danger of moving upward quickly. Somebody else might be there, but one of the biggest skills in Fortnite is how to disengage. Now we are into the top 12. He's in the box, picks up Lano. That was the other top team right there. He's able to find the shot. Elevate does take over. He desperately needs the conversion, and there it is. 7 elims, top 10 right now.
He's down to 60 HP. That siphon is going to help so much. But look up top, Bubby, Jayrosez, and Held Back Dog. Not so held back right now. Riversun, Cease, Elevate. Elevate is down, and we're in 8th place. Don't forget, 3rd and 4th are those next round of placements. Riversun has been popping off, and now he needs to keep that trend going. The question is, how far away from Cease is he right now? Look across the way. Just a single 1-by-1 over. This is good, but now they need to potentially try and contest for high ground, and I don't know that they have the utilities or items to do that, right? He left the minigun behind and opted to pick up grenades. That works best going from up downward. But right now, this trio of Hellback Dog and friends, they've got the high ground. You can't send those grenades up. That's not going to work at all.
It's a 3v2 with the trio sitting up top, pinning down as we go over the side of a mountain, which is going to give them the opportunity to rain down shots. You can see still no advancement quite yet, and this is the discipline we've talked about that you see from some of the North American teams. Everybody is sticking by their partner and trying to play zone as we pull away from the high ground, so it's not going to mean anything as there's no mats in play. Riverside pushes down, is able to pick up Bubby, and a ton of mats, well, not a ton of mats, 15 right now, but it might as well be a ton as everyone is forced down. It's a 2v1 right now. 4 players left, 3 trios remaining.
Wait, what?
Riverside catches Jammies out in the storm. He does have a launch pad to get back in, doesn't need it since it's right there. Player drops down, cleans it out. Jayrosez held back. Dog says bark, bark. 10 elims, 15 points for the victory route, 25 total, pushing him up to 52.